All right, so we're going to come now to a really critical moment from Jeremy Jackson with Classlink, because this thing about equity and access is real. It's not a joke. And I'm really happy to have Classlink speak to you now for Lunch and Learn. Go get your lunch out of the fridge. Hopefully you made your lunch or can grab a sandwich really quick and peanut butter and jelly or whatever, because Jeremy's going to talk to us about how this all works. Not everyone has it. About 50% of districts that just joined the fray don't have it, which is scary for me. So we really wanted Jeremy to share. So Jeremy, can you share video, take over the screen, and unmute yourself? I think you're here.
I am here, and
Yeah, there you are.
I'm getting an error for starting the video. I'm just
Oh,
saying
weird.
that the host has stopped it.
Oh, all right.
And
Host of the most, Doug, should let you share video then. Let's do that. And then can you take the screen? You can share screen.
I believe I can. All right, let's see. Um, well, there we go. I think
Hey, there
we're
you
we're
are.
cooking with fire here. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeremy Jackson, and I am with Classlink. And let me go ahead. I'm going to just share out my screen. We should be able to see that PowerPoint. Everybody seeing that okay?
Yep, I'm seeing it.
All right, great. Thanks,
And I
Jelani.
see you. So now we're firing on all cylinders. So you go. I'm going to stay on
Great.
mute unless I'm needed.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So good afternoon again, everybody. My name is Jeremy Jackson, and I'm the Senior Director for Instructional Technology with Classlink. And today we're going to actually look at some ways that we can give teachers and administrators some ways to track student engagement. So, what it's really important to be able to have the data and the instruments to be able to guide remote learning and distance learning for your students. So I used to, in the before time, travel quite a bit and get to come out and visit all of the districts. And one day I was talking to a pilot in the airport, and I asked how much of that is really automated for the flight, and he said, when we're up in the air and cruising along at 30,000 feet. The computers are pretty good at stabilizing things. We monitor them. But when you go up and you go down, that's all the pilot. And I asked about what stormy weather is like. He goes, you know what? We don't even need visuals. We have all of the different instrument panels that can give us the data that we need in order to take off and land successfully. And that's how we are today with digital and remote learning. Is we don't have that same visual impact. We can't necessarily see what the students are doing, but we need to have that instrument panel, that insight into seeing how students are performing, how they're engaged, and how they're spending their time. So Classlink has created an ecosystem for you to be able to track that. So if you are not familiar with Classlink, Classlink is a way for students and teachers to access all of their resources through one click. So we want to be able to have a single sign-on environment. So usually within your network, you're going to sign in, on your Active Directory login or your network login or using Google. Maybe it's even Office 365. But once you're logged in, instead of having to memorize, dozens and dozens of different usernames and passwords, Classlink gives you the resource to all of your access, all of your different applications and your files as well. And because we have an enclosed ecosystem, we can help track and provide analytics for it. And so we're going to look at that today. We're going to see some of the analytics that teachers and administrators can get, but we're going to look initially at how that ecosystem is created. And so you'll get to see an idea of what Classlink looks like first. So we have some other technology that can help support and to create that as well. We're not going to really spend time on it today. If we have some questions at the end, I'll be happy to answer those. But The first is you need to create all of the internal accounts. So you need to create that Google account or Active Directory account or Office 365 account. And we have a tool called the OneSync server that does that. And then you need to create all of your external accounts. And that's called rostering. So when you reach out to all of the applications and vendors and resources that you need, everything external to your district, we can help do that by pulling information from your student information system and then making sure that everybody has the resources for that single sign-on. And then we also provide some additional portals. We'll take a real quick look at that. And so parents need to be able to access multiple resources as well. And you want your community to be able to have some insight as far as what's going on within the district. So there are a lot of different ways that you can sign into Classlink. Again, we mentioned the Active Directory and Google. We can do some other things. If we want to get super techie, we have our SAML, and we have some other ways that we can do it. One is the quick card, and we'll see how that works in just a moment. And that's typically for younger students, somewhere K through second or third grade, who the students might be learning their alphabet. So they may not have the tactile skills to work a keyboard. So this is a way that those students can be able to have that single sign-on experience and access all of their resources as well. We also have facial recognition software, and that's something usually students who have severe disabilities. Again, we want to be ADA compliant, and they may not even be able to work one of those quick cards, but we need to be able to provide access for them as well. And then the last way is a remote login. So teachers can actually use their mobile device, their cell phone or their iPad, and walk around the classroom and log their students in. Um, and the last thing that we're going to take a look at is the two-factor authentication. So that's providing an additional layer of security. So that could be an image or a text message or even an email. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that from banking systems and other resources that you access in your personal life. So let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at the Classlink environment. And here we have, this is sort of the generic looking Classlink web page. And we can see some different methodologies we can use to log in. So this would be our network login here, just with the username and password, how we'd access our computer. We also have the SAML, we can log in with Google, and this would be Office 365, or that quick card we mentioned earlier with the QR code, or facial recognition software. Another thing to mention is we also have anywhere, anytime, any device access as well. So it's important if your students are doing remote learning and let's say their Chromebook or iPad breaks down, you can't have learning stop at that moment. So they need to be able to access Classlink and their resources from any device. And by providing native-based apps for the iOS or your iPhone or iPad, or your Google Play, which would be your Android devices, we're able to have that anywhere, anytime learning continue. And for the district, you may provide iPads, and you need a native-based app for that for the students. Now, it's important to note that Classlink, we don't just control everything that you're doing as far as you're logging in. We can see here for, here's a Colorado district, Weld County. They call this My Locker. And you can see they've customized this page. So this is not logging into Classlink. This is logging into My Locker, which is their tool. It's branded completely for them. And the unique ways that they're logging in or the ways that they want their students to log in is using Google or that quick card. Now, maybe they want to simplify it a little bit, and some students are having trouble knowing what that quick card is. We can see Pueblo here is using, creates actually a bar explaining sign in with quick card. So they clarify it a little bit. They are saying log in with Classlink, but you can see the beautiful branding that they've provided. And here we can see there's actually a banner at the top of this page explaining the login information. So if you want to have, you can even have a pop-up notification that comes up on your Classlink page. But again, you can customize that however you want. And it's important to, again, to note on those previous pages, we didn't see the downloads for the native apps, but here that's really important for Mesa. They want to be able to have the iOS and Android apps, and so they put that again right onto their home page. And here we have just a really, we can see this is district branded, just signing in with Google. So if that's the way that you want your districts to access that, or your students, teachers, parents, administrators to access those resources, you can do that. And I just think this is pretty, so I just threw that one on. And so we wanted to talk about those quick cards. And it's important to note that a student hasn't even logged into this Chromebook yet. So they are logging into the initial splash page on this, and this could be a Windows device as well. This example is using the Chromebook, and we want to see how that quick card would work. So all the student would have to do is take that quick card, and they're going to flash that in front of the computer camera, and it's going to log them into the machine. So that they've actually logged into the machine now, and then it's going to open up the Classlink environment, and they're now having SSO to all of their different apps and resources. We also mentioned that we have parent portals, so we can manage all the parents' usernames and passwords. So to access things like grades or lunch balances or look at busing routes, different resources they need to be successful. And we also have a public portal, which let me see. Yeah, that hadn't loaded up. We can see in the district and maybe even some that are not approved. And we'll see what that looks like in our library. So
I'm going to real quick log in again, and I apologize that looks like I was having an issue on that particular machine. So, and there we go. We are now logged into Classlink. So I know we're running tighter on time, but I'm going to just run over some features for you really quickly. We have all of our different single sign-on applications here. So we can see that that is noted by this key in the upper right-hand corner. And again, this is customized for each one of your teachers. So we can see I have all of my different library resources. We have, because this is a teacher, we have different staff resources and HR links. Now, if I was a student, and we'll go ahead and quickly switch over to a student profile, we're going to see that we're not going to have any of those particular resources. So what we're looking at is just the student information system and seeing what resources each individual user needs. So this can also be for other users. So although we only charge for teachers and students, we give access to everyone within the district. So we give access to all of your administrators, even to your custodial staff, your bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and that can even be customized for them. So maybe your custodial staff needs to be able to have access to the HVAC system, or your cafeteria workers need to be able to have the food ordering system that could show up on their desktop. So again, these are completely customized. So we're going to look at my classes here. That first portion we saw was the My Files resources. But in My Classes here, we're seeing all of the different preps that are being taught by this particular teacher. And we can see all of their classes and the students who are in each one of those courses. This is where teachers can see the different resources that are being shared out. They're able to see hand out new resources for their teachers. So we can see here, we have an announcement that is sent out by the teacher. They have a little megaphone that they can do. Here are the different applications that they have for this particular course. Teachers can add new apps. We have different libraries that are curated by the district. So they could say, here are all of the K4 different applications that have been approved by the district and have been vetted, making sure that they have educational value, that they don't violate any privacy or security issues. So all they have to do is they can hit add that to their classroom, and then we can see this would show up for that particular course, and then all the students for that class would have access as well. So we have some discussion boards. All of the students are listed here, so we can see this particular class is using the quick card, so they'd be able to print that out. Let's say that here Ricky needs to be able to log in and they're having a problem with the password. The teacher can actually go in and they can enter a temporary password for the student to be able to access that and then be able to reset their password the next time they log in. It's a huge bottleneck for learning. Now, here's some of the data that we were discussing, and we're going to just quickly be able to look at some of that data. Here is just really a login, a snapshot of all of the students who have logged into a particular class every day. So this is really something that is being used by a lot of districts for attendance. So they can actually export this information. So the teachers can export that and then import that into their grade book for attendance. We have some districts, my home district in Portland, Oregon, uses this for their attendance for the entire district. So they actually do a district-wide export and then can do attendance using that. So that just lets you know that they've logged in, but we want to be able to have a deeper look at that. So we can see this heat map here actually gives us an idea of what the students have done once they've logged in. So just logging in for 42 minutes may not really be enough for that entire day. So here that teacher wants to see what resources they've been using. Now, this may be adequate if this is just the one course, but if a teacher is an elementary teacher, they're doing the entire class, they can go click on that and they can see what resources that student's logged into and how long that they've logged in on that. So we can see.
Jeremy, I think we're at time.
We are at time. So we'll go ahead and just transition off. But this is where we'd have all of the different analytics for that class. We can look at some individual analytics for students as well. So I apologize for my computer error, but if there are any questions that you have, please feel free to contact me. Lalani, do you mind? Maybe you can share my email address at the end. I didn't have the PowerPoint on this particular machine, but it's jjackson@classlink.com. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time today, and I apologize again for the technical issue there.
Well, thank you, Jeremy, and thanks for all that you do. I know it's a lot for a lot of people. I remember the days before single sign-on, and they were awkward and sad for everybody. So thank you for all you do.